I've witnessed a possession, like a literal actual possession. And before this, I didn't think it was possible. I was like, there's no way that someone can actually get possessed like the movies. No, I mean, it's not like the movies, like they won't be crawling up walls and their face morphs or whatever, but it's literally like an entity will take over someone who has a very weak energy, will take that shit over and they'll try to like not take over their life, but it's like in and out communication, if that makes sense. Like they'll be themselves for all day and then they'll have a moment where they'll be like, I feel sick, oh my god, like I feel like cold or I feel hot, and then they'll kind of like start talking like somebody else, not voice difference, but the things that they're saying, the energy shifts. It's like really 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 scary how that can happen. But I've witnessed that, and that by far, even to this day, was the scariest thing that I've ever had to experience with entities, and that was the most afraid I've ever been to. So that played
How
into
were they
it.
acting different?
Basically, like they would well, for one, like how it happened was they started out with a lot of like physical pains, like their nose started bleeding randomly. They were like, my back is hurting, my legs are hurting, my I feel hot touches all over me, and that's how like spirits are, bad spirits. And I remember at the time I was like, I thought they were just sick or something. I was like, oh, maybe you just don't feel good. But at the same time, I also felt a huge energy shift. And then as time went on, they kind of like gradually, it was like a depression that was like going on and even stronger. And they would feel weaker and they would have nightmares. They would have like horrible, like the things that as well that this person could also hear spirits. So they were like hearing them as well. And they were like, Jesus, like I hear horrible things inside of me and I don't know how to get rid of it. And from there on out, it was almost like this person would literally pass out, not like fall on the floor, but they would be like, I'm really tired, I'm going to take a nap, go lay on the bed, 2 seconds later wake up and just be like very not manipulative, but very like, how do I say this? It's kind of like they're trying to test their luck with you and they're like fucking around with you, like trying to make fun of you and like, but it's not, I don't know how to explain it because it sounds like I'm saying like this person's just like an evil person, but in reality it was like they literally went to bed and woke up a different person and then they
Right.
would go back to sleep 5 minutes later and wake up the way that they were originally. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very scary, but
That's something
yeah.
I've never heard about before. Like when you talk about possession, like usually you said it's like people walking up a wall or doing something crazy. So how did that
Mhm.
story end?
Oh, it ended with getting. We both ended up. Well, I had to take matters into my own hands because they were like too spiritually weak at the time. But I had to literally. Oh my God, it was horrible. I was calling up churches. I was telling people. They thought I was crazy. They were like, "We can't help you." You feel me? They were like, "We don't know what in the world you're dealing with." I was like, "This is literally a demonic entity, and I don't know what to do." Then finally, I found like this one time we both ended up going to a church. Like I brought them to the church with me and I went up to a priest and I was like, please help me. I was like, this person is possessed. I was like, you might not believe it, but I need help. And they were like, okay. They were like, the thing, and this was the only person who actually helped me. They were like, what you have to do is you have to command the demon to leave. And you cannot be afraid. Because remember, keep in mind, this was my first thing I've ever actually experienced that was this horrible. And on top of that, I didn't know what to do. I was just allowing for the spirit to talk shit to us, to just, do whatever. And I was feeding it fear. So in that moment, he was like, you need to tell it to leave, and that it cannot hurt you or harm you. But don't say, leave, leave. No, you have to be like, get the fuck out. You don't belong here. Get out in Jesus' name, like things like that. And then after that, I was like, you know what? I might as well take my chances. I'm going to do it. I don't care. So I had my holy water with me. And that was another thing. Holy water does help because it's blessed water,
Oh yeah, I'm Puerto
demons.
Rican, so we wash the floor with it, with the
Here we
walls, bathe in it, drink it. Oh yeah, I know
here we
about
go
that.
then.
Oh
Yeah, hell
yeah.
yeah. So after that, I had to like, when we went back to the house, I remember they were starting to feel kind of sick again. And I remember feeling, because keep in mind at this time, I was also psychic medium. So I could hear that entity talking and it knew that, because spirits, when they know that they're about to like be dispelled, they start to freak out, but they don't show it. The way that they freak out is by cussing you out, by scaring you, trying to scare you even more because they don't want you to touch them, right? So at this point, I remember this demon's yelling at me like, get the fuck away, like you can't touch me, all this shit. And I was like not feeding into it. So I laid the person down and I like said this prayer and I was like, I command you to leave in Jesus' name. And I like sprayed holy water on this person, like literal on some movie shit. And this person was asleep, so they didn't even know I was doing it. This person woke up, started coughing, ran to the bathroom and threw up. Everything, just threw up and was like, I feel so much better. And they were like, what did you do? And I was like, I used holy water. I was like, I said everything I had to say. And I feel that, and you could literally feel the energy just brighten the second that it left. And it was like, I felt like a new person. I was so happy because it was really scary, like to have to experience such demonic energies. Oh my God, nothing like it. There's nothing like a demonic entity.
That's some shit out of a movie right there.
That's why I've never told anybody until now.
Wow. Thank
Yeah.
you. So how bad did it get before you were like, okay, we need to bring you to a church, and like what was the worst it got?
It got really bad because basically like this person, they started to, at first, like I said, it started off with like physical pains. And I remember I was trying to do anything I could, like at the time I was like a baby witch, so I was like, oh, like I wasn't really looking. I'm not saying that you have to believe in God in order for this to work, but at the time I was more so connected with the idea of the universe than to like God, or like at least to this positive energy that there actually is. Like everything I was saying, I was like, the universe will take care of it, the universe this, but I wasn't actually embodying like the universe energy of like positive God-like being. So at this time, like this person was feeling worse and worse, and I was doing like all these remedies and like candle work and all this stuff to get rid of the spirit, and none of it was working. And I remember it was gradually getting worse as I was trying to do shit to like remove it. And it was just, I was like, geez, I'm not doing anything. Like, this isn't working.
So what was going on? He was like, they were like talking or like doing things.
Yeah, they were like, pretty much after the physical pains started happening, they were then feeling like extremely depressed. I remember that was like a huge thing. They were like, I feel like shit. And they were saying things that they wouldn't like normally say, like, oh, I want to die and I want to kill myself. And I was like, what the fuck? Like you don't ever say shit like that or ever feel things like that. But at this point, it was like so much negativity. And then I remember there was a time where we were able to see the spirit. And that's when I knew that things were getting really bad, because the person was feeling weaker and weaker, and this entity was getting stronger and stronger. It got to a point where one time, like he FaceTimed me and he was like, look at this. And it was, oh my God, it was fucking ridiculous. You know how like on a painting, you have like a piece of glass in front of it to like,
yeah,
curve it. So I remember there was the picture, and then on the other side of the wall, there's the sliding glass door. So you can see a reflection, of like that. So he's like, look, and he shows me, and you can literally see a tall black entity with arms straight, just standing there in the reflection. And he moved the camera and he moved it back, and he was like, it's gone. It was gone. It was literally gone. I remember I was like, this is getting too far.
That's
like,
the time to go to the church. If I ever heard one. I hope that's the time you went. That was it.
Actually, it was leading up to it.
You don't want to get worse than that.
No, it was too much.
Wow.
Yeah, it was horrible.
So then after that, you went to the church, and then you did everything that you said previously at the church, and then you vomited.
Yeah. Even more stuff happened than that, but that's a whole other thing, honestly. But it just went
on. A whole nother
on.
podcast of all that.
Yeah, like literally, it's fucking a lot.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was really crazy.